Hey, this is Gina Rogers from Grantwood AEA, and this is a quick tutorial on how to set up learning targets in Schoology. So we're going to go into Resources, and we're going to go into Personal. Once we're in Personal Resources, we're going to click on Learning Objectives, and then this is where you can add a learning objective. And so if you click on that, you can create a custom learning objective, or you can bring in a learning objective from Common Core or different state standards. You can also create a folder to organize all of your learning objectives in. And so if you have learning objectives for the 9th grade course that you teach, you can put them all in a 9th grade folder. If you have learning objectives for the weightlifting class that you teach, you can put them all in a folder called weightlifting. Here I've created a number of different learning targets. These first 3 are learning targets that are custom learning targets that I created. If I click on one of them, let's say posting to an online discussion board, you can see I can edit it if I need to. I'm going to hit Save Changes now. So I've created my learning objectives. I also need to think a little bit about how am I going to assess these learning objectives. And so if I am assessing posting to an online discussion board, probably the best way to assess that is by creating an online discussion board. So I'm going to go back to my courses and back to the course that I'm working in. Once I get in here, I'm going to jump into my gradebook real quick. And so since posting to an online discussion board is a skill that we'll be working on throughout the year, I'm going to add a rubric for this skill. And so once I'm in my gradebook, if I click on Grade Setup, that will take me to where I can set up the categories of my grading or gradebook and all that good stuff. But I am going to go over here to the right hand side and click on Rubrics. And you can see I added a rubric already, but if I wanted to add one to align to a learning target or a learning objective, I just click on Add, Rubric, and then I can create it right here. That way I can come back to that rubric and use it every time I assess that learning objective in my class. Here's the one that I created already for discussion. And so you can see here that you can edit the criteria. So the first criteria is organization, and then you can edit what the descriptors of a 4 post is versus a 3 versus a 2, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and say save. And so now, after this saves, it's going to be time to create the assignment or the discussion board that I want to assign this learning target and this rubric to. We'll close that. All right, and so I'm going to go back to my course, Teaching Effectively in an LMS, Section 1. And I'm going to create an online discussion board. So I'm going to go to Add Discussion. And I'll just call it Sample Discussion. So then I'm going to look down here in Advanced and click on Align to Learning Target. And this is a custom learning objective from Personal, and it is posting to an online discussion board. And so now that learning objective is there, and then if I click over here, on how do I want to grade this, I'm going to attach this rubric to it. So now when I grade it, I'm going to be using this rubric to assign a grade to this assignment for my students. Since I'm not actually going to post this, I'm going to cancel out of it. But that's just a quick tutorial on how to use learning objectives in Schoology and how to create rubrics in your gradebook that can be attached to those learning objectives multiple times throughout the year.